It is 6:30 p.m. and I call this meeting to order. Please stand and we'll recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Winona City Council. Tonight I have a few comments. First off, recently one of our ambassadors for our sister city in Masato, Japan, Joe Lepley, shed his mortal coil recently. I have asked Councilmember Alexander during her comment period to talk a little bit more about the impact that Joe had on our community. Tonight, I have a comment regarding our AmeriCorps volunteers. The City of Winona extends its gratitude to AmeriCorps volunteer members in the Community Forestry Corps who recently completed their 10-month terms. Eva Malke and Abby Chadbourne took on a number of tree-related initiatives ranging from updating the city's tree inventory to removing invasive species and planting and caring for new trees. Some of their specific accomplishments included planting or assisting with planting over 300 trees in boulevards and park areas. A similar number of seedlings were planted in wild areas. They may have set a one-year planting record for Winona. Together, their efforts are making a huge difference in the urban tree canopy, and that positive impact will continue to grow as the trees do. Our next AmeriCorps volunteer, Abby Wickbolt, has already started and will continue the work of the previous Community Forestry Corps member by helping control invasive plants, planting new trees throughout town, and keeping our tree inventory current. Please contact City Engineering if you wish to receive a boulevard tree or have a tree-related question. Tonight, I've got a proclamation regarding Project Fine's Welcoming Week. City of Winona proclamation. Whereas our community's success depends on making sure that all people feel welcome here, new residents are a vital part of our community, bringing fresh perspectives and new ideas, starting businesses, and contributing to the vibrant diversity that we all value. Whereas this week, we honor the spirit of unity that is bringing neighbors together across the city of Winona. During Welcoming Week, I invite everyone to join this movement of communities nationwide by renewing our commitment to our core American values and by taking action in the spirit of welcoming. By working together, we can achieve greater prosperity and make our community the kind of place where diverse people from around the world feel valued and want to put down roots. Whereas, regardless of where we were born or what we look like, we are neighbors, united in our efforts to build a stronger community. By recognizing the contributions that we all make to create a vibrant culture and a growing economy, we make our community more prosperous and more inclusive to all who call it home. Whereas, let us come together to build communities where every resident has the opportunity to contribute at their best. Let us come together to create more prosperous communities and reaffirm that Minnesota still stands as a beacon of freedom and opportunity. I call upon the people of Winona to join together to build stronger communities across the region. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Scott Sherman, hereby proclaim the week of September 9th, 2022 as Welcoming Week in the city of Winona and encourage all residents to extend a warm welcome to new residents in our community. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the city of Winona to be affixed the 6th day of September 2022. And tonight in the audience, we have Fatima Saeed, Executive Director for Project Fine.
Good evening, and thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. This is a 9th year that we have been celebrating Welcoming Week and inclusion in this community. I'm a very proud member of this community and want to thank you all for celebrating with us and really recognizing that refugees and immigrants are an asset to our community. So on behalf of all of us refugees and immigrants that came to this community, that put roots and build this community, and I want to say thank you and want to invite you to join next week many of events that are happening in our community. Thank you for partnering with us. Thank you for opening the door for new opportunities for refugee and immigrants like myself. I'm really excited that Winona has been our first community that joined Welcoming America, and then we still be leading in our effort to really recognize the impact that refugee and immigrants making in our community. So I hope that we will be a window and invitation for others to come and take the jobs that we have in our community and build stronger community for all of us. So thank you, and please join us next week in celebration of all this, including our Constitution Day. So thank you so much. And I do have a nice poster of sponsoring, so I would like to give this to someone to post this somewhere in City Hall during the next week. So I'm gonna give to Patrick over here. Thank you.
Thanks, Fatima. Appreciate it. And now we'll move to City Manager Chad Ubel.
Mayor and Council, we have a few items tonight. We also have, to start with, two retirements that we'd like to recognize. The first is Police Sergeant Rick Biddle. He could not be here tonight, but would like to read something acknowledging his years of service. So the City of Winona would like to congratulate Police Sergeant Rick Biddle, who retired on August 29th, 2022, after 24 years of service. Rick began his career as a police officer on September 3rd, 1997, and was officially promoted to police sergeant on July 31st, 2003. Rick served in many different capacities over his career with the police department. He was a use of force instructor, firearms instructor, a member of the Winona County Emergency Response Team, and a field training officer. Many of the current Winona police officers were trained by Rick. Prior to becoming a sergeant, Rick served on several patrol shifts before being assigned to the power shift. During this time on the power shift, he worked with another officer and the narcotics investigators to address crimes related to drugs and violence. His efforts were remarkable, and shortly thereafter was promoted to sergeant. As patrol sergeant, his skill, knowledge, and wisdom came from years of dedicated patrol service, and his opinions and suggestions were well respected. Rick was best known for taking care of the officers serving under his watch. He was always willing to help cover shifts so others could attend a special family event. Team camaraderie was very important to Rick, and he embraced the team player mentality. Rick's love of family, sports, golfing, fishing, and being on the river will probably be what he's remembered for most. His retirement photo displayed at the police department was taken by the river. Rick was a patrol sergeant for most of his tenure with the department, and his dedication, compassion, and leadership will be truly missed. On behalf of the entire city council, city staff, and the Winona community, please join me in congratulating Sergeant Rick Biddle on his retirement from service. We wish you a long, healthy, and happy retirement. If I could ask at the end of this retirement announcement, if we could just hold our applause. Just want to share one additional anecdote. Tonight, we're recognizing Deputy Police Chief Eric Engrave, who retired on August 30th, 2022, after 22 years of service. Eric began employment with the city on August 7th, 2000 as a police officer. He was promoted to sergeant on December 8th, 2003, and then to deputy chief on September 19th, 2020. During his career, Eric served as a defense tactics, taser, and LiDAR instructor for the department. He was also part of the motorcycle police for the Winona Police Department, the department's honor guard, and either assisted or led a host of other initiatives during his employment. Prior to working for the city of Winona, Eric worked for the Winona County Sheriff's Office as a 911 dispatcher and jail detention deputy. Eric was truly a dedicated servant to the Winona community for over 30 years. Eric is best known for his ability to remain calm and act. As his last day as a sergeant in 2020, he was the first one to respond to a trench collapse on Garvin Heights Road and was instrumental in saving a man's life. During his tenure, He was recognized for his police work by the Secret Service for discovery and apprehension of an active counterfeiting suspect, and by the Federal Bureau of Investigation for assistance in apprehending 2 adults involved in child trafficking. Eric was one of the longest serving afternoon shift sergeants to have ever served in the department. This is one of the busiest shifts, and officers are called to respond to a variety of situations. As shift commander, Eric oversaw some extremely traumatizing incidences, including suicide, shootings, assaults, and medical emergencies. These incidences impact not only the victim and their families, but can also have a profound effect on officers who respond to the call for service. Eric will be remembered for his ability to check in with officers after these events to ensure they were mentally okay. Eric has been integral in efforts to address wellness within the police department as well. As an afternoon shift sergeant, Eric coordinated the police reserve program and led efforts to staff events, including but not limited to Steamboat Days, Winona, and area homecoming events. Eric is a very detail-oriented and meticulous. These characteristics served him well when he was promoted to deputy chief. The administrative team often referred to him as the deputy chief of logistics. In 2021, Eric was instrumental in writing a Department of Justice grant and securing $78,000 of federal funding for the purchase of body-worn cameras. Eric also assisted in writing department policy, overseeing department operations, and engaging in public speaking events on behalf of the department. Eric's a wonderful communicator, always pleasant, dedicated, and positive. He's a person who knows a little about everything and is able to converse and find common ground with just about everyone. Eric, your dedication to making Winona a safer community will be greatly missed. On behalf of the entire city council, city staff, and the Winona community, please join me in congratulating Deputy Police Chief Eric Engrave on his retirement from service. Wish you a long, healthy, and happy retirement. I can just pause for a minute. After we wrote that for Eric, I received a call from a citizen who asked me if I knew if Eric was retiring. And my response was, yes, he is. This individual said that I've had several encounters with Mr. Engrave. I said, okay. This individual said he will be sorely missed. I said, yes, he will. And this individual then proceeded to tell me that they've had several encounters with Mr. Engrave when, while he was working as an officer and sergeant and deputy chief, and that there was not another more compassionate person in every dealing that they had with Eric. And I think we tried to capture that in the note, but I think that was important that also a member of the community called and asked, like, is he really retiring? Yes, this is a very compassionate person. And I think that is how I'll remember Eric as well.
Eric, if you want to come up, we've got a certificate for you here.
If he wants to say a few words, he can too.
Oh, we should be.
You want to say a few words?
You can go to the podium if you do, Eric, because that's easier to hear.
Okay.
Oh, wait, photo op.
Oh, yeah,
Photo
I
op.
would like to take a picture.
Got
Right in there.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
I didn't have anything prepared other than thank you. So I'll make it really quick. I appreciate very much the kind words. It has been interesting, to say the least. I think a lot of what you said, I can contribute to being surrounded by the very best people. And it's made this much more tolerable and even fun on a few occasions. I would also like to mention when you spoke to Sergeant Biddle, he was my first field training officer. And he served me well. So my thanks to him. I will miss the city, and I will watch diligently to see how things progress and which way the worm turns, if you will. And I'm leaving the department with high hopes for the future. The right people are in the right places. So it's all good. And I thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
Mayor and Council, I've asked, excuse me, Nick Larson to give a brief presentation tonight. Nick recently presented during the Port Authority budget sessions information regarding the Port Authority revolving loan fund. And although Councilmembers Alexander and Borzakowski have heard that discussion, I thought it was relevant information to share with the full council. So I've asked again, Nick to give a brief presentation, if that's okay, Mayor.
Absolutely.
Thank you, City Manager Ubel. Mayor and Council, within your agenda packet this evening is the Port Authority Revolving Loan Fund report. Within that report, it highlights what a revolving loan fund is, how it works, along with a few success stories of how the Port Authority has used our local revolving loan fund. The Port Authority made its first loans to businesses from the revolving loan fund back in '94. Since that time, the Port has loaned out over $4.9 million to 79 businesses, which is leveraged over $157 million, which equates to a 1:32 ratio on private investment. With those loans, it has created or retained 545 jobs within the city of Winona. With the Port Authority, it also leverages its revolving loan fund. We used it recently with the announcement of the Winona Chamber Foundation, partnering with the Port Authority and the City of Winona Community Development Office and applying for funding through Minnesota DEED and their Main Street Economic Revitalization Program. With that, the Chamber Foundation was awarded $1 million for the downtown area between Huff Street to Franklin, Fifth to the riverfront, for property owners, nonprofits, business owners for repair, development, and rehabilitation of their buildings. As part of that application, the Port committed $50,000 to strengthen that application. For right now, that application is open right now until October 30th. It'll cover up to 30% of eligible project costs. And in partnership with the Port Authority, the Chamber, and the city, we're holding a couple of informational sessions on Thursday, September 15th, one at 7:30 in the morning, and then one at 5:30 to help open up some times for downtown business owners and property owners. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Nothing else, Mayor.
Okay, very good. I will now ask the city clerk to take roll call.
Mayor Scott Sherman.
Here.
Councilman Young.
Here.
Bowler.
Here.
Alexander. Here. Iden.
Here.
Borzakowski.
Here.
Rapinski.
Here. For the remainder of this meeting, residents are only allowed to speak if they have a request before council, and I have recognized you to speak.
Under the petitions, requests, and communications, item 3.1 is reappointments to the Human Rights Commission.
I move approval of those two requests.
Second.
We have a motion from Michelle, a second from Eileen. Any discussion? George?
I would just like to thank Asifa team is here. Thank her for her time on there and all the members on there. And she does a very, very good job. Both those ladies do on the human rights. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm honored to be.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.2 are temporary wine and malt liquor licenses for Hurryback Productions.
I move approval of those licenses.
Second.
Motion from Michelle, second from Eileen. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.3 is the Block Party street closure request for Sunday, September 25th.
Move to approve that that request.
Second.
Motion from George, second from Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.4 are sign requests.
Move approval of those requests.
Second.
We have a motion from Michelle, a second from Pam. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.5 is a request to close the band shell parking lot for the Lions Club event on Saturday, September 10th.
Move approval of that request.
Second.
We have a motion from Michelle, a second from Eileen. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Mayor?
Oh, George, I'm sorry.
I don't know, Patrick, you know, it says 10 to 2. Is there going to be a time when there's going to be a program?
Mayor and council, it's my understanding that right at the beginning, there'll be a small welcoming talk by city manager.
Yep,
And
I'll be there as
Mayor
well.
will be there as well.
Okay.
So that's the formal part of it. Then Park Rec will have some activities going on throughout the day. They're gonna have Coke truck will be there. And then just different games and activities throughout.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.6 is a request for a cross-country race by the School District 861.
Move approval of that request or license agreement.
Second.
Motion by Michelle, second from Eileen. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.7 is the license agreement for the Midwest Music Fest to be held May 12th and 13th of 2023.
Make a motion to approve that license agreement.
Second.
We have a motion from Michelle, a second from Pam. We do have Dylan Hilliker, the event director for Midwest Music Fest. If anyone has any questions. George.
I would just like to say, I remember approving this for the first one X amount of years ago, and this festival has really grown. And people not only throughout the community, but through the area that look forward to it. So great job.
Thanks, George. Anyone else have any comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 3.8 is updated parking on 4th Street.
Make a motion to introduce the attached ordinance.
Second that.
We have a motion from Michelle, a second from Pam. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Under new business, item 5.1 is the proposed budget and tax levy for 2023.
I make a motion to adopt the proposed 2023 budget and the resolution for the proposed tax levy collectible in 2023.
Second.
We have a motion from Michelle, a second from Steve. Any discussion? Yeah.
Okay. Mayor and council, just wanted to appreciate the motion. The second, wanted to mention that as we mentioned last Tuesday evening, we did make the adjustments for the senior advocacy program, and the final tax levy for the total city tax levy that you're approving tonight is 9.5%. And the total city and port levy combined is 9.37. I did have a couple of council members reach out and ask if we could update the DETR charts based on that information. And so we've done that. If you can see the screens, I'll just walk through a couple examples with some new information. So what you see is that first common, what we call DETR chart. This shows the city tax levy for residential homestead value of 170,000. The assumptions that you need to make with this chart are that the estimated market value increase for 2023 is 13%. Now that's a number that we've gotten from the county that can change, it can fluctuate. Remember from the presentation Monday night, that's one of the factors that impact your tax statement that a resident gets. If we use that assumption that there's going to be a 13% market value increase, this home value would be estimated at 192,000. It's important in this slide as well to have the assumption now that we know that the estimated net tax capacity for 2023 will be 26,616,873. This is approximately a $3 million increase in the tax base. So again, from last Monday night, the tax base is a factor, so it's increasing. So again, when A resident who may own a $170,000 home gets their tax statement in the mail. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to see a 9.37 or 9.5% levy increase or tax increase. The factor of the market value and the factor of the tax base increasing will have that impact. But this slide shows you that this resident of a $170,000 home value with a new evaluation of 192 can expect an estimated city tax of $700 per year. And then again, we've broken down where that monthly amount is, that 5833, and then how that 5833 is split across departments. And again, as we mentioned, similar to Monday night, a large portion, the 4822 per month, goes to the general fund of that 5833. Where does that go? So we flip to the next slide. Again, $1.78 of that $48 goes to economic development. You know, roughly $7 goes toward general government. You know, the 647 to park maintenance, you know, fire, police. We're showing that again for that 170 for $170,000 residential home. Similar to what we did on Monday night. So Brad, if you could just move that black box down, please. We're all right. If you could zoom out and then where it says we're talking, that black box, there's a number behind there, Brad, sorry. So you can just go to normal screen. And then there's a number behind that, the zoom box. No, that's okay.
That's what you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to go back here, sorry. So that $170,000 home, you can see in the red with the assumptions that we made with the estimated market value increase, this home value is going to go to 192,100. You can see in the middle of the screen there that the estimated 2023 tax is $700. The year-to-year increase is that 84.38, which then comes out to be a year-over-year monthly increase of $7.03. So with the 9.5 year proving tonight and those assumptions, which they are assumptions at this point, this home is going to see a $7 increase in their taxes each month in 2023. So we've also been asked to show commercial industrial properties as well. Same assumptions here, 13% market value increase, tax capacity increase. This commercial property of a value of 1.8 million would see an estimated total city tax of $16,562 per year or $1,380 per month. And again, we break down in this chart how much of that is, you know, street reconstruction, how much goes to capital projects, how much goes to the general fund, recreation, and library. And again, general fund is a large portion of that pie. And this is that breakdown of how this estimated $1,140 is spread out amongst the general fund per month. With that commercial property, it becomes even more of an assumption. And here's why. If we assume that the market value would increase by 13%, this commercial property then would have a commercial value of over $2 million. But from 21 to 22, there was only a 5% estimated market value for commercial properties. And that 13% that we're using for the assumption is really likely for residential properties, not commercial properties. So, but for a second, let's say that we are anticipating a 13% market value increase for a commercial property. Their year-over-year taxes would increase by $1,665. Or another way to put that is they'd see a monthly increase in their tax bill of $138.76. Now, again, we can do some simple math. We can say, well, if market value doesn't increase by 13%, let's say it's just half of that or close to 5%. Let's say it's 6%. Well, you could take that monthly increase and really just divide it by 2. And you've got close to a $68, $69 increase per month from year over year. The same holds true on industrial property. So we wanted to show another chart of industrial property. This property that we chose has a $863,400 value. Again, same assumptions, 13% increase, tax capacity increased by 3 million. Their estimated monthly tax is $636. Again, you see the breakdown of how that is spread out amongst our funds. You see how their monthly tax then is spread out between more specifically departments within the general fund. And then last but not least, if we use the assumption of 13% industrial property getting that same market value, their new property value would be $975,600. Their 2023 tax would be $7,634. That's a year over year increase of $786.30. Their monthly impact year over year would be $65.53. But again, that's using that 13% assumption. Again, if industrial property from 21 to 22 only increased 3%. So again, if we did some quick math, even more than half of that month-to-month increase really could be taken out in a sense because of market value. So it's likely around that $32 range, maybe even less per month increase for 2023. So again, a few council members asked that we show those DETR charts again based on these new numbers. Still some assumptions because those numbers aren't finalized by the county, but that is the general impact for at least 3 examples of property with the motion that's on the table.
Very good. Thank you, Chad. Steve.
What I think we just heard, this is local government functioning well. Of transparency, the level of detail. I mean, you're just rattling off the numbers. I appreciate the review. I'd also like to draw our attention to a couple other things here. The progress that we've made. A year ago, we turned a page in this body here. We had been spending reserve dollars to patch budget holes, and that was soon to cause significant problems for the city. We ended that practice a year ago, and of course we are not doing that this year as well, which I'm delighted. Second is that we are accounting for depreciation in library and park rec maintenance. This is significant. This shows transparency to the public, what things actually cost, puts us on better footing. 2 more quick points. LGA, which we greatly rely on for our budget, is only increasing 0.4%. It's not 4%, but 0.4, half a percent less than. That's a challenge. We're increasing the levy by 9.5%. One more thing, final point. If we look at the money that we spent last year, total budgeted exclusive of the port, 57.8 million. This year it's 59.7 million. That's a 1.9 million increase. That's only 3.2%. So slightly over 3% increase is really the extra money that we're spending. So when we have galloping inflation, this is quite the feat. So well done. I will support the motion. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other comments? George?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, the LGA is a fight every year, for our manager, our finance director, the council. It's a fight every year. There is no guarantee, regardless of what they say we're going to receive, there is no guarantee that we're going to get that. So like I say, we're always kind of on guard for that, but that's the item that we really need to keep our eye on because, you've heard me say it before. We send, or the businesses send $28 million of state sales tax. Let's just have half of it back. We're doing all the infrastructure, and we get help from the county on things. We do all of it here. and they do nothing for it. And even their bookkeeping is done by the businesses. I don't think it's that bad. If you want to give me 28 million, I'll give you half back. No discussion at all, but fine job. And I know I've talked with the manager as well too, in between and now in December, of course, if there's anything that could be reduced yet from that, I know he'll certainly take a look at it and see what we do with that. So, I'll support this tonight as well too. And as you always say, the number we give tonight cannot go up, but it can certainly come down. So thank you.
Thank you, George. Any other comments or questions, discussion items? Okay, we had the motion from Michelle, a second from Steve. All those in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 5.2. Item 5.2 is the 2023 budget and levy date for the public comment at the regular scheduled council meeting of December 5th.
I'd move appointing that as the date and time and place for the public hearing for the levy.
Second.
Motion from Michelle, second from Steve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 5.3 is to set the public hearing date regarding liquor license fee increases.
Move
Make
to
them-
approve that hearing date.
Second.
Motion from George, second from Michelle. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 5.4 is the transit grant application for 3 bus replacements.
Make a motion to adopt the attached resolution.
Second.
Motion from Michelle, second from Eileen. Any discussion? George?
Now, these buses, we will be purchasing them, correct?
We will be applying for the grant.
Okay, applying. Okay.
At this point, the state has not determined if the grant match is 5, 10, 15, or 20%. So that's why it says up to.
Okay,
I'm not sure if we're granting 2 or 3, so we're requesting 3. It's unlikely that we'll find out until the end of this year. So they will be ordered sometime in mid 2023 and put on the streets probably early 24.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 5.5 is the open public comment session policy.
I make a motion to adopt the attached policy.
I'll second that.
We have a motion from Michelle. Eileen was first. Okay. Second from Eileen. Monica, you have a comment?
Yep, I just want to let the council know that the policy before you is very similar to what was presented at the pre-council at the last council meeting. We did make a couple changes. In one paragraph, it was to split it out into bullet points to make it clearer on what all the criteria is for the public. And then we also changed at the mayor's suggestion to have a sign-up list that will open on Friday morning before the council meeting. It will be an online form. It will then close at 3 p.m. the day of the meeting. If someone does not have internet access, we will also have, you can call into the city clerk's office and ask to be put on the list. So those will all be first come, first serve. So we will track when people signed on the web form versus when they called into our office. But we are recommending that this session would start the next council meeting. So it would begin at 6:10 p.m. On September 19th.
Thank you, Monica. Any questions, George?
Yeah, just one question. I think it was mentioned in here that if there's an item on the agenda that evening, they will not be allowed to speak on that particular item. Is that right?
Mayor and council, they cannot speak on those items during this open public comment session. It would be up to the mayor or presiding officer if he's going to allow comments on those items during the regular meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, George. Eileen?
I just wanted to say that I'm very happy that we were able to put this together and get it launched in a few months. And thanks to Monica and the city attorney for working on it. I'm really happy that this will be part of our regular meeting structure so that we can hopefully have more transparency and accountability to the community.
Thank you, Eileen. Council historian Borzakowski. When was the last time we did public input?
Oh, I'm gonna say 12 years ago, Jerry Miller was mayor. And I think he just kind of put it out on his own, we'll do it. And I think we had 3 meetings of it. We did it at 6:15 to 6:30.
Okay.
And, just come up, whoever came up spoke, whatever. And then after 3 meetings, then we discontinued it because no one else was coming. So.
Sure. Okay. In regards to me allowing people to speak during the meeting, if you've been to a council meeting, you notice that generally I'm out in the audience and I'll kind of scan through people and see what they're here for, or if they would like to speak. So I'll continue to do that, and I'll do my very best to try and catch everyone if they are there in regards to a specific agenda item for that evening. So just want to convey that that's going to fall onto me, and I'll do my very best to try and make sure that everybody's well represented here at the meetings. George?
And also, I just want to make known to the public that you still call your council rep. You still feel free to call your council rep if you have a certain issue that you want to discuss, you want a meeting set up. You do not have to come to the public comment to state that, but the 7 of us here, we're still your liaison, so.
Absolutely. Thank you, George. Any other comments, questions, discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Item 7.1 is council concerns.
We'll start with Councilmember Borzakowski.
Thank you, Mayor. Hamilton Street Railroad Crossing, what is the latest update? You got 4 minutes.
Wow, there is no actual update. Steve will probably be meeting with me and the railroad sometime towards the end of September. Being they got that grant for the rail, there's like 5 or 6 crossings that are scheduled to go on that. So it's probably not happening this year. It'll probably happen, have you heard 23 or 24?
We were just, Scott and I were just at a meeting today. We confirmed again that we believe every rail crossing will be touched, looked at, and many, if not most, redone. We have an engineering walkthrough. I saw an email today come through.
Towards the end of this month.
Yeah, towards the end of the month. Where we will be, it's the first walkthrough to look at each of these rail crossings. So what we've been told the same thing each time. These rail crossings will be redone.
Some of them are brand new, so they probably won't.
Right, and so that's what I'm not saying every single one, but they've every time they've been saying it. Now they're actually coming to look at them. It sounds like it's going to happen. I know it's not soon enough, but
Okay.
I think it's
And from what I understand, there would be 0 cost to the city on it.
Yep.
Versus if we did Hamilton now, if they would do it, we've got over $100,000 for sure, city money.
Okay, so, and make sure you take them to Hamilton Street.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
it's on the list already.
we'll call it and ask permission, George.
Okay. All right, thank you, gentlemen. Also, congratulations to the new police sergeants that were in their swearing in ceremony this afternoon, and look forward to working with them as the year goes on. I think they were 3 very, very fine candidates for that job. So wish them congratulations as they move into their new field. Also, this past weekend, I was a participant in the Big Muddy Bruin Queue and the rib eating contest. I came in 6th. There was 7 of us, but I came in 6th. And I want to commend Councilwoman Iden. She did an excellent job at tending bar. So I think maybe she was the reason why I didn't eat so many. I don't know. So just a joke. And also, I'd just like to, since it's the Brew and Q weekend, congratulations to Katie's Pub Bar down in the east end of Winona. They were the winners of the Bloody Mary contest that was run through Port 507. I believe there were 12 establishments in there and they came out number one. So Mayor, one of these days you and I'll have to go down there and sample that award-winning Bloody Mary, and of course you will buy. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, George. Councilmember Alexander.
So I'm just going to talk a little bit about Joe Lepley. I met him for the first time 12 years ago after our sister city had suffered an earthquake, which caused some extraordinary damage to their community and their Miyagi prefecture. And he had kind of started a fundraising effort to send some funds from our city to their city. And I remember when I first encountered him, I thought he looked a little bit like, I might date myself here, like Grizzly Adams. He kind of looked like he had just come out of the woods and appeared on the street in front of me, but he was really one of the most gentle, patient, kind people I've ever had the opportunity to work with. He has been an excellent friend these last 12 years. And not only will I miss him, but I suspect that many a student is mourning his loss. He was a very special teacher and coach for many years in the school district. But further, he put his heart and soul into the Sister City program. I mean, he had the opportunity to chaperone one year and fell in love with the Japanese people and the culture and the experience for the students. And he took it upon himself without extra pay or incentives to take on this program that for 20 years has allowed 800 Winonans the chance to explore a culture so divergent from ours. And then also welcome likewise 800 people from Misato to experience our city and our state. And he did that selflessly, and he gave up his money and his time to offer scholarships. He was really an extraordinary person. And I can tell you from messages I've received from Japan in the last few days, he's mourned there quite heartily. I mean, they are really sick at the loss of Joe Lepley and obviously have very real concerns about the program because he was really the heart and soul of our Sister City program. It was really under his mentorship that we even moved that program into WIFA and started a program that allowed all Winonans and all school students, no matter what school they go to have this opportunity instead of just public school. And I think there's many a student in the last 6 years that wouldn't have had this opportunity if he hadn't been willing to take it away from, and I don't mean that in the way it sounds, take it away from the school, but to open it up beyond the school. It was a bigger responsibility and caused more work for us, but he never once shirked in that. Even as he aged and retired and had other things he enjoyed doing, he never once gave way on his efforts to make sure that program survived. And it's my hope that this council and all future councils will honor his memory and the work that he put into that program, because we are on our 25th anniversary of friendship with Misato. And we had been working on quite a big celebration once we got past this pandemic to welcome them here. And it makes me a little sad and a little sick that he won't be here for that. But I think we can honor his memory by doing the best we can to continue that program at the city level. And thanks for the opportunity to share a little bit about Joe with the community. He's really an amazing person.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle. Councilmember Item.
Well, I too had an opportunity to go to Misato and join the students and Joe Lepley on those bus rides across the countryside and stops at all the wonderful places, meeting the people in Miyagi Prefecture. And it's really one of my prized experiences. So I am grateful to Joe for his hard work and to Michelle and to the other people in the program. It's a stunning thing. Okay, I also wanted to talk tonight about the bird scooters all over town. I'm so enjoying seeing them show up in so many places that in the alleys and on the street corners, stopped and parked and going. It's an amazing thing. But I do hope that people are going to continue to be careful. I understand as of now, there are no known accidents, so be careful out there. Which was the TV program that used to end, and it was Hill Street Blues. Hill Street Blues. Okay, let's be careful out there.
Thank you, Pam. Councilmember Mueller?
Nothing from me, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Young?
Yeah, I want to briefly chat on the bird scooters as well. I haven't got on one yet. I really want to. Yeah, I don't know what my deal is. And appropriately named Bird, it just kind of gets me in the mood. But so I did take 2 calls from people with concerns of blocking sidewalks. And one particularly stuck with me. She's in a wheelchair. She's going to spend the rest of her life in a wheelchair, and it's not motorized, and she lives somewhat near the swimming pool, and unable to get through a section of sidewalk because of a blocked scooter. I was downtown 2 or 3 times today, and I drove some side streets, and I used a little map to find where the scooters were, to find where they're parked. And most of them were parked well. I mean, it's a challenge. If I was trying to do a good job of parking the scooter, you park in somebody's grass to get it off the sidewalk, or do you leave it on the sidewalk so it doesn't, tip over? I did see one completely blocking the sidewalk. All the rest, probably about 10 of them, were parked fine. But I don't know. So I got out and looked, and it doesn't say anything about parking. It has other warnings, wear a helmet, don't drink, drink and ride or whatever. I'm wondering if there could be some communication to them. I'm sure the scooter company has received this concern before. Maybe they have some sort of response.
When you check out, or when you are done with the scooter, you're supposed to take a photo of where it is parked. And so in that regard, I believe there is a kind of a check in place in terms of where it's being left. So my wife and I got the chance to take them out this past week. So
Cool.
I'll be honest, we were smiling the whole time, and everybody we saw smiled at us.
Yeah.
I just met with WSU Student Senate regarding the bird scooters, the policies, the challenges, and also the advantages of micromobility. And so far, they've been received pretty well. I think there's going to be some growing pains with it. There's going to be some interactions between the city and Bird to try and refine that a little bit. But yeah, absolutely, Monica.
Yeah, Mayor and Council, I would note to the public, there is a number on the scooter. So if any resident sees a scooter in a location that it shouldn't be parked, where it's blocking the sidewalk, you can call that 800 number and report the address of where that scooter is located, and they will route it to the local rep and they'll relocate it.
Anything else, Steve? Okay, thank you. Councilmember Rapinski.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Moving on to the consent agenda, there are 2 items. Approval of the minutes from the July 5th and August 15th council meetings, and the final adoption of an ordinance to establish no parking in a school zone area.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion from Michelle, second from Eileen. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The time being 7:23 and there being no further business to come before this council this evening, I move we adjourn.
I will second that.
Motion from Michelle, second from George. All those in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.